wasn't able to move for certain circumstances. I have met with grievous mishaps, some troubles, by sea and land, and have been long held in bonds yani, among the heathen folk. And he was captivated by the original people of England, the Red Indians, to the southward, and am now brought hither by this Indian to be redeemed out of my captivity. So he was imprisoned by those Red Indians. Will it please you, therefore, to tell me of Hester Prynne's? This is how we pronounce Hester's full name, Hester Prynne. Have I her name rightly? Of this woman's offense, and what has brought her to this scaffold? Truly, I think it must gladden your heart after your trouble. So in a land where, to find yourself at length in a land where iniquity is searched out. Iniquity يعني شوفوا هنا الظلم. So this person tells Chillingworth that in this land, in the Puritan land, iniquity is punished. And this is an ironic situation because there are many iniquities in Boston where Puritans are encouraging and supporting. Yonder woman, sir, you must know, was the wife of a said. Now we have the story of Hester. What happens here? He is explaining that this lady was married to a person whom she left. He sent her to New England and they stayed for a while to do some unfinished business, and then this person did not catch her in Massachusetts, in Boston. So she was seduced by somebody and committed adultery while her husband is still missing. This is the story. It is in this paragraph. I conceive you, said the stranger with a bitter smile. So learned a man as you speak of should have learned this too in his books, and who by your favor, sir, may be the father of yonder babe. Now Chillingworth is asking about the seducer, about Hester's partner, who is still unknown. Of a truth, that matter remains a riddle. Nobody knows about this. Madame Hester absolutely refused to speak, and the magistrates have laid their hairs together in vain, because they tried to push Hester to speak about her partner, but she refuses to make that public. In page 57, in the second paragraph, it behooves him well if he be still in life, responded the townsman. Now, good sir, our Massachusetts magistracy be thinking themselves that this woman is youthful and fair. Normally, the death is a sentence for adulterers in the according to Puritan concepts and principles. But this sentence was not forced or was not incurred in Hester's situation because of the following. Me thinking now, good sir, our Massachusetts magistracy be thinking themselves that this woman is youthful and fair, and doubtless was strongly tempted to her fall. This was one of the reasons, because she was beautiful and she was tempted. And that moreover, as is most likely, the other reason is her husband may be at the bottom of the sea. They have not been bold to put in force the extremity of our righteous law against her, which is death sentence. So her sentence was that she Mr. Prynne to stand only a space of 3 hours. She stands 3 hours on the platform of the pillory, and thereafter, for the remainder of her natural life, to wear the mark of shame upon her bosom. That was the punishment of Hester instead of her death. So Chillingworth enters here. A wise sentence, remarked the stranger, gravely bowing his head. Thus she will be a living sermon against sin until the ignominious letter be engraved upon her tombstone. It irks me nevertheless that the partner of her iniquity should not at least stand on the scaffold by her side. But this is important. He will be known, he will be known, he will be known. So he made just like a vow, a promise that he is going to discover the partner, that he is going to reveal his identity even if he does not speak. And then some reference to the baby and the marks of infamy or marks of shame. Now we have two marks of shame for Hester, her baby and the letter which is engraved on her gown. In page 58, there is not much thing to be said, only a reference to Governor Bellingham. This is the governor of Boston, who just like the mayor, مثل المحافظ أو قائم مقام, let's say, of that city. You can have some reference about him here. Some reference to John Wilson, an influential preacher. He is one of the preachers who took responsibility to interrogate Hester and asked her about her partner, but he could not reach any results. So he bequeathed this kind of responsibility to another person, Dimmesdale. Hester Prince said that I have striven with my young brother here, under whose preaching of the word you have been privileged. Young man beside me, I have sought, I say, to persuade this godly youth. Now he talks with Hester about Dimmesdale. Of course, you know, Dimmesdale is Hester's partner of the shame. So now Dimmesdale is taking responsibility of interrogating Hester, being her pastor and her the clergyman who will deal with her case. Here, he could the better judge what arguments to use, whether of tenderness or terror, such as might prevail over the hardness and obstinity, in so much that you should no longer hide the name of him who tempted you to this grievous fall. He is pushing her to confess, but he opposes to me. Dimmesdale here interferes and opposes John Wilson, the preacher, and asked him that we should not force Hester to speak out her own secrets. We should give her some privacy, and she will talk sooner or later. So he said, Dimmesdale opposes to me with a young man's over softness, albeit wise beyond his years, that it were wronging the very nature of a woman to force her to lay open her heart's secrets in such broad daylight and in presence of so great a multitude. So that was a kind of interference done by Dimmesdale to let Hester keep her own secret. In page 60, we have some description of who is Dimmesdale. Master Dimmesdale. The responsibility of this woman's soul lies greatly with you. It behoves you, therefore, to exhort her to repentance and to confession. As a proof and consequences thereof, the directness of this appeal drew the eyes of the whole crowd upon the Reverend Mr. Dimmesdale. You can have an idea about his name. Dim means a little light, mu'tim. So from the very beginning, the writer tries to give us an idea about how Dimmesdale looks like. A young clergyman who had come from one of the great English universities, bringing all the learning of the age into our wild forestland. Eloquent and religious fervor, had already given the earnest of high eminence in his profession, unless when he forcibly compressed it was apt to a tremulous, expressing both nervous sensibility and a vast power of self-restraint. Some physical description of Dimmesdale is here, just to have an idea about it. Speak to the woman, my brother, said Mr. Wilson. It is of a moment to her soul, and therefore, as the watchful governor says, momentous to thine own, in whose charge hers is. Now Dimmesdale will take responsibility of interacting with Hester and asking her about the partner, where the ironic situation lies, because he is the partner. Yes. Shh.